Two spine-chilling true July 4th horror stories revealed, sinister secrets of the cursed holiday. In the small town of Willow Creek, fireworks illuminate the night sky, but they do little to push back the shadows. Claire's heart races as she stares at the sparkles cascading above, each boom echoing a familiar terror. Her late husband, a decorated war veteran, left behind more than just memories. He carved a path of silence and whispers. The thrill of Independence Day feels tainted, a celebration marred by the blemishes of the past. As Claire prepares the barbecue for her young son Ben, an oppressive weight settles on her chest, the darkness creeping into her thoughts. She pushes the dread down, forcing a smile. For Ben's sake, she must fake happiness, but there's an unsettling gnawing at her mind, a feeling that something terrible lurks just beyond the walls of her home. Days before the holiday, hushed conversations swirl among the neighbors like smoke from the fires. They share furtive glances, their expressions a mix of sympathy and something else, fear. As Claire eavesdrops while washing dishes, snippets of gossip claw at her sanity. "He never talked about that mission," one whispers. Another adds, "You never really knew him, did you?" A shiver runs down her spine, and she turns away, suppressing the urge to confront them. Fear transforms the ordinary into the grotesque. When Ben stumbles across a hidden box in the attic filled with discolored medals and unsettling photographs, his father in uniform, but with a shadowy figure lurking nearby, a shudder grips her. The very foundation of their quiet life shakes with the realization that threats from the past are not just memories, they're alive. At the fireworks show, Claire's hopes for a distraction crash against reality. The crowd buzzes with excitement, laughter intertwining with anticipation. Claire clutches Ben's hand tightly, her gaze flitting nervously from shadow to shadow. She senses the eyes of strangers upon her, a tightness in her chest like a vice. There's something off about them, their two watching eyes, their shared smiles hiding disdain. The new sheriff smirks, his charm a thin veil over the unease. "Everything's fine, ma'am," he says, waving away her concerns. Is he just a friendly face, or does he hold secrets of his own? The doubt twists like a knife in her gut. And then, amidst the explosion of colors in the sky, chaos strikes as Ben slips from her grasp. Panic ignites in her chest, a wildfire raging through her veins. She weaves through the crowd, desperate cries lost in the noise of celebration. Each flicker of light seems to mock her dread. Hands trembling, she realizes this isn't just panic, it's a nightmare born from her husband's history. Will he pay for sins she never knew existed? Each corner she turns feels like an omen, and the night spirals into a frenzy of screaming and laughter that feels more like a trap. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the last echoes of fireworks fade, Claire's breath quickens. She scans the frantic faces around her, her heart pounding louder than the final thunderous booms. Time slows, and the world becomes a blur, her pulse thrumming with terror as she senses something lurking, an unseen predator just beyond the joy of the holiday. Just as she begins to unleash a shout for Ben, the lights flicker violently, plunging the celebration into a surreal twilight. In that shadowy moment, dread sinks into her bones. The whispers of the past grow louder. You must pay for his sins. As darkness sifts through her thoughts, Claire knows this is just the beginning. What have she and Ben truly awakened? Claire's breath becomes shallow as she searches desperately through the crowd. Panic grips at her throat like a noose. Every face she passes morphs into a mask of horror, inhabiting a nightmare where laughter once reigned. Straining to catch a glimpse of Ben, her heart races with the thought of his small frame lost in the mass of adults too engrossed in their festivities to notice a child's absence. Ben! She screams, her voice cracking, swallowed by the roar of the dispersing crowd. She pushes forward, elbowing her way past revelers oblivious to the tempest brewing in her chest. The air heavy with smoke and the smell of burnt ash only heightens her anxiety. Suddenly, she feels a shimmering chill rush down her spine, and every instinct tells her to turn. Shifting her gaze to a small patch of darkness near the edge of the park, she catches sight of a dark figure standing alone. It's a silhouette more ominous than any shadow around. The moment their eyes lock, a jolt goes through Claire, and she knows this figure holds secrets. It's as if the night has whispered them right into her ear. Familiarity washes over her. He is not unknown. Claire, the figure calls, his voice raspy and tinged with an unsettling calm. Her breath hitches, recognition crashing hard into her gut. It's a man from her late husband's past, someone he never mentioned, but she remembers him, someone connected to the ghosts that haunted their lives. Where is he? Claire shouts, wild with fear, and the chaotic atmosphere shifts around her. Laughter dies down, and one by one, the crowd begins to respect the tension crackling in the air. Your boy, he knows more than you think, the man says, his eyes flickering with some dangerous truth that could burn her alive. Heart racing, Claire takes a step back, her instinct screaming at her to flee, but she can't leave Ben. What do you mean? Where is he? She tries to keep her voice steady, but the tremor betrays her. He's looking for answers, truths he's not ready to handle, he replies, a grin creeping across his lips that makes her skin crawl. Just like you should have been ready. Just then, Claire's phone vibrates violently in her pocket. She fumbles to retrieve it, her eyes still locked onto the man. The screen lights up, revealing a text from an unrecognized number, "Come to the old mill." The truth waits. The message chills her to the bone, an icy grip wrapping around her heart. The world spins around her, shadows tightening like a vice. Claire's thoughts race through a maze of panic, guilt, and what-ifs. What could possibly be hidden in the old mill? Why would the man want her to go there? And how does he know Ben? Don't you dare! She snaps at the stranger, but the fear in her voice cracks. She realizes he is not just a witness to her family's pain, he may be a key player in it. Then, without warning, the man vanishes into a crowd, swallowed whole by the remnants of the celebration. Claire can barely process the change as the laughter starts up again, but it feels hollow, distant. The glow of happiness is replaced with an overwhelming dread. Mom? Ben's voice suddenly cuts through the chaos, clarity amidst the storm. Claire spins around to find him standing at the edge of the throng, his face smeared with dirt but his eyes wide and innocent, untouched by the horror surrounding them. Relief floods her, mixed with apprehension. What had he seen? What had he heard? Are you okay? She rushes to him, pulling him close, but as she embraces him, a haunting chill wraps around them both, amplifying the whisper of terror. A flare of fireworks bursts in the distance, illuminating Ben's gaze. But this time, it's not joy lighting up his face, it's something else, something darker. What did you find out, Ben? Claire holds him tighter, her mind racing. What did he tell you? His small hands grip her shirt as he stares into her eyes, words trembling on his lips. Mom, I think I saw him. She freezes, the air thickening with unsaid fears. Who did Ben see? And why does it feel like the night is only just beginning? Claire's heart pounds in her chest as Ben's words hang heavy between them. The innocence in his eyes seems to fade, replaced by a profound understanding that sends icy fingers crawling down her spine. Who did you see, Ben? She demands, her voice barely above a whisper, urgency threading through every syllable. He hesitates, glancing over his shoulder as if he expects the figure to emerge from the shadows again. It was a man, the one you were talking to. But he didn't look the same. He was different. Not again. The memories of her husband's past, things she fought to bury, rise like bile in her throat. Different how? She presses, desperation edging her voice. He had no face, Ben murmurs, as if revealing his own nightmare. Just darkness, a black hole where his face should be. The words echo in Claire's mind, warping the air around them into something suffocating. The laughter of the crowd feels like a distant memory, laughter mingled with joy twisting into mockery. She grips Ben tighter, her breath quickening. "We need to go," she breathes, looking around wildly, feeling the weight of unseen eyes watching them from every darkened corner. Ben shakes his head, a resolute frown forming. "But Mom, I think he wants something. I heard him say stop." Claire interrupts, fear surging like fire through her veins. "We can't talk here. We have to leave now." Just then, a loud bang of fireworks explodes in the sky, lighting up the night for a brief second. With every burst, she can see distorted figures in the park, faces caught in a moment of rage or sorrow. Her own face reflected in Ben's wide eyes resonates with dread. As the sounds of celebration continue, Claire turns and starts to move away, dragging Ben with her. Panic fuels her legs, but the path back to safety is lost in the dense crowd that seems to throb with an unseen tension. People brush past them in a flurry of bright colors, paying little attention to the woman and child on the edge of panic. Then, without warning, she spots the figure again, standing just ahead in the swirling chaos. A pitch-black silhouette against the backdrop of the flashing lights. They lock eyes briefly, and Claire feels her breath leave her lungs. In that moment, she knows he's not just a man with a dark past, he's something entirely more sinister. "Run!" she shrieks, and with that, she yanks on Ben's small hand, forcing him to sprint with her, weaving through frightened festival-goers who seem obliviously transfixed on the pyrotechnics. "Mom! We need to go back." He said no. "We need to get away from here." She shouts again, panic bleeding into her voice. She can feel the man closing the distance behind them, an unrelenting cold invading the air, pulling at the edges of her mind. But where is she running to? The park stretches endlessly, every corner seeming to promise escape yet delivering only more shadows. Her pulse races, a violent thunder in her ears as fear morphs into a raw need to protect her son. They reach the old wooden bridge leading out of the park, and as Claire darts onto it, an eerie hush falls, a stark contrast to the riotous sounds of laughter and explosions behind them. The air hangs thick, cold, as if they've stepped into another world altogether. Ben pulls her hand. "Mom!" Wait, but before she can answer, the hairs on her neck stand on end. From the shadows emerges a figure, one she thought she'd escaped. The grin is back, wide and twisted, like it knows a secret she's yet to uncover. "What lies beyond?" he whispers, the words curling around her as if clasping her in an embrace. She knows they must run, but her feet feel anchored to the damp wood beneath her. Ben shivers, a frightened breath escaping him. And then she hears it, a low chant rising from the depths, echoing off the bridge, slithering into her consciousness with chilling certainty. "Come to the old mill, the truth waits." Claire's mind races as the figure steps closer, his form gaining substance in the flickering light. She can already feel the pull of the past tying her to this fate. "Mom, what's happening?" Ben whimpers, eyes wide with terror. The world feels unsteady as Claire tries to gather her thoughts, to find some remnants of hope amidst the chaos. But darkness looms nearer, and her heart knows the truth may not be something either of them can handle. Nothing is going to happen." She cries, but the words waver, cracking under the weight of impending dread. The air thickens with fear and secrets unspooled, hovering just out of reach. "Who really are you?" She breathes toward the shadow, her voice trembling, anxiety pooling in a pit at the base of her stomach. And as the figure's lips curl into a smirk, Claire realizes the horrifying revelation looms just beyond. What truth awaited her in the night? What if uncovering it means losing everything? Claire's breath quickens, a primal terror clawing at her throat. She squeezes Ben's hand tighter, willing him to feel her resolve despite her own shaking legs. The grotesque figure stands there, a void where a face should be, as if he is forged from the darkness itself. "Come to the old mill," he hisses again, the phrase winding around them like mist, weaving its way into Claire's mind. She can feel the weight of its invitation pulling at her, whispering forgotten memories, and she fights to shake it off. What truth lies at the end of that beckoning thread? She can't let it trap her. "Mom, he's gonna get us." Ben whimpers, his voice punctured with fear. His small body trembles as he glances back, eyes reflecting the flickering lights like a deer in headlights. "I'm not letting him take you," Claire vows aloud, though the words seem hollow against the oppressive atmosphere wrapping them like a shroud. With one last glance at the figure, Claire spins on her heel, dragging Ben with her across the bridge. The wood creaks ominously under their weight as if it too remembers the stories buried beneath the surface over decades. Each step takes them farther away from the festival's noise, where laughter is twisted into something malignant in the darkness behind them. Suddenly, a cold wind rushes past, snatching at Claire's hair. Her heart leaps into her throat, and she stumbles slightly, catching herself just in time. The air tastes different, sharp and filled with dread. Then she hears it, the echo of footsteps behind them. Crunching leaves. The unmistakable sound of pursuit. Faster. She gasps, urging Ben onward. Her legs scream as she pushes them through the darkening path leading away from the park. The shadows seem to stretch and shift, grinning like monsters in the corners of her vision. Up ahead, she sees the tree line parting, revealing an old, crumbling structure just off the dirt path, the abandoned mill, its silhouette etched against the faint glow of the moon. A knot tightens in her stomach. The figure's voice echoes in her head again, and it sends a bolt of frozen fear through her. Half-formed thoughts about the secrets hidden within those walls flicker in and out like a dying light bulb. "Mom, where are we going?" Ben gasps beside her, his small legs tiring. She drags him along, desperation giving her strength. "We can find safety there. We just have to." Before she can finish, a voice cuts through the night, low and mocking. "Lost already? How sad." It reverberates from the mill, slithering through the air, taunting them, chilling their blood. Claire skids to a stop, her instincts screaming. "Ben, hide!" she orders, pushing him behind a nearby tree. She turns, fists clenched as the figure materializes from the shadows, inches away, his smirk only widening. "You really think you can escape the truth? Why are you doing this?" Claire's voice trembles with defiance. The words are a desperate plea wrapped in an empty threat. "Oh, but you invited me here, or did you forget?" His eyes glitter, voids that absorb light but give none back, an eerie black hole filled with malice. "No, I didn't." Claire snaps, taking a step back. "This isn't right." Ignoring her words, he advances further. "You cannot run from what you've buried. Ben." She screams, panic clawing at her throat. She spins around only to see him peeking from behind the tree, his small frame trembling. "Mom. He said he knows you." Her heart lurches at the revelation. "What do you mean?" she demands, her voice sharp as glass. "Who are you?" Ben's innocent yet terrified question hangs in the air, heavy with meaning. The figure laughs, a slow, twisted sound. Ah, the boy wants to know, but will he be brave enough to uncover it? Tension grips Claire's throat. She struggles to breathe while the world around her tilts dangerously. She knows now the truth is more insidious than she could have imagined, clawing at the doors of her mind, begging to break free. "Are you ready to face it?" he taunts, shadows cloaking his form, gathering around him like a living cloak of despair. "Simon, Ben!" Claire shouts, pivoting back, but her instincts scream it's futile. The path is solidly boxed in now, and somehow she knows this confrontation is inevitable, the horrible truth waiting for them just beyond the mill. The air thickens as they take a step toward the crumbling structure, the darkness pulsating like a heartbeat. What if uncovering it means losing him? She thinks frantically. And as they hesitate at the edge of the mill's crumbling entrance, heavy ancient secrets seem to whisper, waiting to awaken. Mom. Ben clutches at her sleeve, his small voice barely audible against the hollow silence. What lurks within the depths of the mill's shadowy embrace? What secrets wait to consume them both? The mill looms before them, a gaping mouth ready to swallow them whole. Claire's heart pounds, a drumbeat driving her towards the brink. Her instincts scream for her to run, but the figure's voice dances in her head, chilling and seductive. You can't escape what's inside you, it whispers, winding through her thoughts like a snake. Mom, I'm scared, Ben whispers, his grip tightening around her wrist, grounding her for a moment. She hates to admit it, but he's right to be afraid. I know, baby. I'm here. Her voice trembles as she kneels to meet his wide eyes, trying to shield him from the terror behind her own. That instant, she'd do anything to protect him. But the haunting calls of the abandoned mill aren't silent. They beckon her with secrets of a past she barely remembers. The door creaks open, revealing a cavernous darkness that seems to breathe. Every shadow flickers with a life of its own. Let us go, she says, forcing herself to step inside, dragging Ben along, her breath hitching in her throat. The air is stale, thick with mildew and something rotten. As they cross the threshold, the temperature drops, sending icy fingers down her spine. The beam of her cell phone flashlight dances weakly around chaotic remnants of machinery once used for grinding grain. It illuminates dust motes swirling like trapped spirits, and she can't shake the feeling that they are not alone. Mom, Ben's voice breaks through her spiraling thoughts. What if we're stuck here? We won TB. Just stay close. She can barely speak the words through the lump in her throat, focusing on the shadows that grow darker with every second. A sudden crash echoing from deeper within the mill jolts them. Claire snaps her head toward the sound, heart racing. Did you hear that? Why yeah, Ben's voice trembles, another sound, closer this time, like something being dragged across the floor. Claire edges forward, the uncertainty clawing at her nerves. Every instinct tells her to retreat, but she needs answers. Come on, she whispers, guiding Ben deeper into the darkness. The beam of light reveals faded old photographs lining the walls, faces she recognizes. The same faces she used to see in the town's old library. They were family, and some she had long forgotten. The air grows denser, suffocating, laden with scent, a sharp tang of iron mixed with something sweet and vile. As they round a corner, their light illuminates a large, rusted wheel at the center of the room, its surface slick and glistening. Streaks of crimson run across it, pooling beneath like a story begging to be told. Mom? What's that? Ben points, his voice trembling, tears glistening in his eyes. Claire's heart sinks as she steps closer, dread lacing every breath. I don't know. But we shouldn't, Mom. Ben's cry shocks her out of her daze. She whirls around just in time to see the figure blocking their exit, looming larger and darker than before, a tangible embodiment of their worst fears. I told you to come, it hisses, the sound wrapping around her like chains. You left them behind, but they never left you. Claire's thoughts spiral. Memories flood back, images of laughter, crimson stains on the floor, the desperate cries. What do you want from us? Claire's voice cracks, desperation clawing at her throat. Face it, the figure sneers, its grin monstrous. Face what you've done. Ben's whimper pierces the air. He steps back, pulling on Claire's sleeve. I don't want to be here, Mom. I want to go home. The words echo in the darkness, stirring the shadows. Claire feels her resolve crumble, but something deeper within her flares a flicker of defiance. Ben, we go now. Something in her rises as she grips his hand, yanking him towards the only other doorway in the room, but the walls seem to pulse, trapping them. No escape. The figure taunts, its shape rippling like smoke, the shadows now a living nightmare. Just as despair threatens to engulf them, a light explodes from Ben's tiny fingers, his flashlight illuminating the creature with a blinding precision. For a moment, a flicker of recognition passes. between Claire and the figure, and the walls begin to tremble under the weight of their past. Mom? Ben's voice is a thread, fragile yet resolute. What if the truth helps us? Then we'll face it together. Claire declares, heart racing, realizing the only way out is through. As the darkness shifts around them, unveiling horrific truths untold, Claire takes a step forward, heart pounding louder than the taunts of the figure, but will the truth set them free or trap them forever? The shadows swirl like a turbulent sea, pressing in on Claire and Ben. The light from the flashlight flickers, straining against the encroaching darkness. Claire's heart hammers painfully against her ribcage, it feels like a countdown. A guttural growl emanates from the figure, and its shape seems to distort, expanding and contracting as if it's breathing. Face who you truly are, it hisses, and what your family has wrought. Claire's mind races. She casts frantic glances at the photographs lining the walls. The faces blink back at her children, mothers, fathers, all smiling, all content. But she knows the truth, beneath every happy countenance lurks a twisted history. The family gatherings where laughter echoed through the halls are tainted by blood, darkness, and betrayal. Mom, please. I want to leave. Ben's voice quivers with fear, pulling Claire back to the moment. She can't let him see her fear. Not now. Stay with me, Ben. Claire grips his hand tighter, determination pooling in her gut. We can handle this. The shadows quiver, teasing her resolve. She steps closer to the figure, which morphs with every heartbeat. What do you mean by what we've done? It doesn't make sense. Oh, but it does, the figure replies, its voice becoming a haunting melody, simultaneously soothing and threatening. You thought you could erase your past? Bury it beneath the soil? You left us to rot. Without warning, the floor beneath them shakes violently. Claire stumbles, Ben clings desperately to her. Dust and debris fall from the ceiling, swirling like confetti at a funeral. Mom, look! Ben cries, pointing to the wall adjacent to the photo gallery. The shadows stretch and bend, revealing outlines of ghostly figures trapped in despair. Each shadow carries the weight of regret, sorrow formed from forgotten dreams. Claire's breath quickens. What are they? Echoes of your family's choices, the figure sneers. The ones you would rather forget. With every word, Claire feels an icy grip around her heart. Memories flood back unbidden, the arguments, the secrets whispered too softly to hear, the pain hidden under layers of fake smiles. No, I didn't want this. She shouts, desperation pouring out of her. But the figure laughs, a dark, rumbling sound that shakes her bones. It doesn't matter what you want. The truth is here, and it demands to be acknowledged. Suddenly, the room plunges into total darkness. The flashlight flickers out, leaving them in a void. Panic rises in Claire's throat as she instinctively pulls Ben closer. Stay right next to me. Mom, I'm scared. His voice is small, a whisper lost in the abyss. As dread wraps around her like a vice, Claire's thoughts swirl with defeat. But then, she grips the air. No. We will not be trapped by this. In the suffocating darkness, she closes her eyes, breathing deeply, forcing her memories to converge into a single thought. I want to let your sins define us. With renewed determination, she screams into the void. We choose who we become. A moment of stillness follows, deep, suffocating silence, the darkness seems to pulse, contracting around them. Then, without warning, the room ignites with a blinding light, consuming the shadows. Claire's vision is momentarily impaired, but through the glare, she sees the figure writhe, its features contorting in anguish. No! This is not the end. It shrieks, echoing through the cavernous space, before fading into the light, the brightness dims, revealing the mill's interior as if it's been reborn. The memories trapped in the shadows dissipate, scattering like leaves in the wind. The faces in the photographs now appear lighter, unburdened. Mom, did we do it? Ben's voice is a whisper. Claire feels tears stinging her eyes. I think we did. But we must keep moving. Yet, as she scans the room, her heart drops. Because at the far end, a new door opens, one that hadn't been there before. It's adorned with carvings of their family. Symbols of the past she thought they had shed. Mom, Ben's voice quivers with uncertainty. What's behind that door? Claire's heart clenches, the figure S. Words echo in her mind. The terrible truth has not vanished, only transformed. Only one way to find out, she replies, a shiver coursing through her spine. As they approach the new doorway, darkness lingers, whispering promises of revelations yet to come. What will they discover now? Are they truly free, or is this just the beginning of another nightmare? The door creaks on its hinges, ancient wood protesting against the sudden light. Claire hesitates, peering into the darkness beyond. It's an uneasy quiet, the kind that raises the tiny hairs on the back of her neck. Should we really go in there? Ben asks, his grip tightening on her hand as if he expects the floor to give way. It's better than staying here, she says, her voice steadier than she feels. With a deep breath, she pushes the door wider. It opens to a narrow stairway that spirals downward into blackness. A cold gust of air rushes past them, carrying the smell of damp earth and decay. Claire wonders if it leads to the heart of her family's buried secrets or something worse. Stay close, she whispers, urging Ben to follow her down the steps. Each footfall echoes ominously, ringing in the silence like a death knell. The air grows heavier with each descent, thick with despair. Shadows ripple along the walls, twisting their shapes to disguise the truth, leaving Claire feeling nauseous. After what feels like an eternity, they reach the bottom. The faint glimmer of light seeps through a crack in a wall up ahead, beckoning them. They step into a room that expands before them, revealing a small chamber draped in a ghostly luminescence. Claire's breath hitches in her throat. The walls are covered with crude drawings, dark interpretations of family events, celebrations mingled with sinister symbols. Horrifying images of figures bound in chains, their mouths open in silent screams, consume her vision. What is this place? Ben whispers, voice trembling. It looks like memories. Just then, a low, tremulous wailing rises from the depths of the shadows, pulling at Claire's chest. The sound is both familiar and foreign, a melody of mourning that sends ice through her veins. She glances at Ben, who looks pale and frightened. She feels the pull of the room, a need to uncover what lies within the damp air. As she steps closer to the wall, a particular drawing catches her eye. It's a family gathering, but the faces are twisted, eyes black voids, their smiles bone-chilling. Suddenly, the figures in the images begin to move, shifting and writhing, their cries melding into an anguished chorus. Mom! They're watching us! Ben shrieks, stepping back. Claire grips his arm tighter, pulling him closer. It's just a trick. These are just echoes of the past. But the moment she says it, a harsh whisper curls around them. You cannot escape the weight of blood, Claire. It will follow you. The shadows within the chamber thicken and converge, forming a shape. Claire's heart races as it draws nearer, its form indistinct yet somehow familiar. Beneath the flickering light, the shadow reveals itself, morphing into the face of her grandmother, eyes hollow and void with sorrow. Your sins, they come back to claim you, the shadow intones, her voice echoing with an otherworldly resonance. You cannot atone for what you've forgotten. Stop! Claire screams, unknowingly releasing Ben's hand as she takes a step back, the cold sweat running down her spine. We did our best. We're breaking the cycle. The shadow recoils, shaking its head slowly, a grim disappointment radiating from it. You cannot escape what has been sown. The truth is a seed, Claire. It blooms in darkness with a horrific howl. The shadow lunges forward, engulfing them in primordial dark. Claire's scream is swallowed, her vision fading to an impenetrable black as she feels Ben slip away from her grasp. Suddenly, she's yanked back as if pulled from the depths of a nightmare. Light floods her vision again, but it's not the same room. It's a different place, wide and empty, yet filled with echoing whispers. Ben! She calls, panic tightening her chest. But all that greets her is a profound, creeping silence. An instant later, she hears a faint giggle, one that chills her to the core. Before she can register its meaning, shadows dart around her, building a suffocating atmosphere loaded with whispers. It's as if the room itself came alive, every crevice and corner crawling with unseen eyes. Where are you, Ben? A single stark realization washes over her. The shadows hadn't just fled. They had claimed him. As her heart pounds like a war drum in her ears, Claire knows she has to find him before the darkness consumes them both. But an unexpected sound halts her thoughts, a door creaks behind her, swinging open to another chamber. It feels like an invitation, but this time she dreads what lies ahead. What new horrors await in this new darkness? Is she ready to face whatever lies within? The shadows tremble with anticipation, and she feels their hunger as she steps closer once again. The door partially swings open, revealing a dimly lit passageway. A sense of unease washes over Claire, but she can't turn back now. She pushes the door wider and steps inside, her heart racing. The walls pulse with a dark energy, almost breathing. Ben! She calls, desperation lining her voice when it echoes back, empty and void. The air is saturating with the scent of mildew mixed with something more sinister like burnt sugar and fear. Chills trickle down her spine, and each step seems to draw her deeper into the shadows. The flickering light cast by an unknown source dances erratically, twisting her thoughts. She feels eyes crawling over her skin. Her pulse quickens as she inches further down the corridor. Pictures hang on the wall, twisted tapestries of shattered moments, family gatherings, birthday cakes, and terror-laden eyes staring through with yearning. Familiar faces, forever trapped in agony. Whatever you're hiding, Ben. She shouts, voice trembling. You need to come back. A faint rustle answers her, followed by the unmistakable sound of quickened breathing. Is it Ben? Or something worse? The whispers in the hallway grow louder, indistinct yet clear enough to discern their calling to her, yearning for her attention. Claire, the whispers coo, elongating her name like silk threading through the air. Join us. She grips her head with trembling hands, fighting against the allure of their voices. No. I have to stay strong. With her heart thudding, she presses onward. The corridor widens into a large room, cloaked in a deeper darkness. Her breath hitches as vivid memories flood her, past family holidays that warped into terrifying visions. Remember us, Claire? A voice croons from the shadows. How could you forget? The shadows shift, revealing ghostly figures twisted in torment. They reach out with skeletal arms, their mouths stretched wide in screams that are inaudible, their eyes becoming hollow. The sight grips Claire with fear, reflecting her own unheeded guilt. No. She spits, taking a backward step. I want to be a part of this. Suddenly, a spasm of motion strikes from the corners of her vision. A dark shape flashes past her, and the memories blur. It darts, and for a heartbeat, she thinks it's Ben before the dread settles back in. Claire. A voice cries out, painfully familiar yet distorted. Ben. She nearly yells, scanning the room. Shadows twist around her, and her fear escalates as the shadows morph into grotesque figures, their features shifting to reflect her despair. The figures move closer, pressing in on her, suffocating her with despair. In the corner, a dim light flickers, highlighting a small table. It's adorned with a family portrait, a twisted homage to happiness, marred with blood that seeps slowly over the edges like an omen. Claire feels a wave of nausea wash over her. Find him, Claire, the whispers taunt. He's here waiting where? Claire shouts back at them, her voice choked with terror. A chill wheezes through her, tightening around her throat. She backs up against the wall, her heart hammering. Reality blurs, colors sliding and melting around her. The figures screech, slashing through her mind with endless torment. She shakes her head, trying to fend off the dark waves of despair crashing upon her. Then she hears it, a muffled sound, soft yet insistent. A plea for help. Claire, help me, it's Ben. But where is he? Before she can move, the shadows surge forward, pulling her down, wrapping icy fingers around her wrists. Panic rips through her as she struggles. Thrashing against their grip, she screams. Get away from me. But the shadows only hiss, drowning out her cries. And then she sees something gleaming in the dimness, a glimmer of hope. With one final effort, she lunges towards it, only to feel the shadows tighten their hold as everything begins to swirl. Join us, Claire. As her vision darkens once more, she fights against the pull of the abyss. But what will she find if she surrenders? Will she unite with Ben or become yet another lost soul among the shadows? A terrifying silence reigns, and then she senses it, a presence looming in the darkness. Come play, the voice teases, and an icy realization grips her. It's not just the shadows she must face. It's something far worse, lurking in the depths, ready to drag them both under. Will Claire find the strength to save Ben, or will she succumb to the darkness once and for all? Claire felt her heart racing as she pushed against the darkness, the overwhelming despair almost suffocating. The cold fingers of the shadows clung to her, but she focused on the glimmer. Whatever it was, it felt like her only lifeline. With a desperate scream, she yanked her arm free from the oppressive grip. Let me go, she wailed, tumbling forward, her body almost colliding with the surface where the light flickered. She squinted, just barely making out the shimmering edges of a mirror set atop the table, its frame cracked and twisted. Reflected in the glass was not just her own terrified face, but shadows that rippled and writhed behind her, a dark crowd gathering, watching with unseen eyes. For a breathless moment, she felt a pull, a magnetic force urging her to look deeper, to see what lurked behind the veil. Claire, help me, Ben's voice echoed again, wrapping around her mind like chains. She steadied herself, inches from that sinister mirror. What if she found him within? Her spirit danced on the edge of hope, but she could sense the danger lurking there, the way the light pulsed, like a heartbeat, mocking her vulnerability. Don't look, she whispered to herself, but dread crept in, filling her lungs with icy tendrils. Ben's voice came through clearer, more urgent, like a siren calling her home. I'm here. I need you. The shadows pressed closer, their whispers turning into a cacophony of tormented voices. They seemed to be pulling her back, retreating as an unfamiliar power emerged from the mirror. The glass surface became a swirling abyss, drawing in the air around it. Join us, they hissed, their tones layered with longing and loss. No, Claire shouted, shaking her head fiercely. The air felt heavy, suffocating, but she couldn't yield. Not now. Not when Ben needed her. She snatched her emotions and gritted her teeth against the incantations that threatened to envelop her. Mixing her resolve with fear, she lunged toward the mirror. The jagged shards of the frame glared menacingly, but she dove into the light. It felt like stepping through ice. Suddenly, she was in a space that felt vast yet oddly familiar, a room swirling with echoes of the past. She could see Ben, a mere outline in the distance, tangled in shadows. Claire, he cried, his voice ragged. Ben! She screamed again, pushing through the lingering darkness that sought to consume her, but before she could reach him, the figures morphed and shifted, forming a wall between them, grotesque faces turning towards her with pleading, twisted features. You have to choose, they whispered together in a chilling chorus. Choose what? Claire pleaded, desperation clawing at her throat. She pressed forward, stepping over broken memories, each one a piece of her past that soared into the air like shattered glass. Sacrifice for sacrifice, one shadow murmured, its skeletal fingers pointed toward Claire and then back to Ben. "What have you to lose?" She froze, dread wrapping around her heart. Her mind spiraled with possibilities. The love she held for Ben hung in the balance against the dark weight of her guilt. Was it worth it? The whispers grew louder, the darkness thickening. "Join us, Claire, or he will be lost forever." No. A bellow ripped from her lips, raw and filled with rage. "I won't let you take him." In that moment, the shadows began to shift violently, swirling like a storm. Claire grasped the edge of the mirror she'd just passed, the surface vibrating beneath her fingertips. "Let him go!" she howled, the tempest surrounding her. The very room felt alive, a pulsating reminder of her fears and hopes colliding, but the air crackled with tension, resisting her, and then she felt it, a chill that promised despair, creeping around her ankles, threading through her essence. The shadows laughed, mocking her defiance. "You think you can save him? You are as doomed as the rest." In one last act of desperation, she leaned into the mirror, the voice of Ben guiding her. "Claire! Find me!" With a roar, she surged into the depths once more, refusing to surrender. But what awaited her on the other side? As she plunged forward, the portal behind her shattered, shards raining down into the darkness. Would she find Ben, or would they both be claimed by the shadows that hungered for lost souls? The question lingered, heavy and foreboding, as Claire descended into the chaotic void. The darkness enveloped Claire, pulling her deeper into its abyss. She felt weightless, suspended between fear and hope, like a whisper on the edge of silence. The shadows writhed around her, clawing at her, urging her to give in. But she couldn't. With every ounce of strength, she grasped onto the memory of Ben's laughter, the warmth of his little hand in hers, fueling her resolve like a flickering flame against the suffocating void. "Ben!" she cried, her voice echoing through the emptiness, a lifeline cast into the unseen. "I'm coming for you." And just like that, a distant light began to swell. It flickered at the horizon of her dark reality, guiding her like a star in the night sky. The shadows hissed, their whispers thick with menace, but she pressed on, willing herself closer to that radiant glimmer. Suddenly, she burst through the veil of darkness, crashing into a new space illuminated by blinding light. As her vision cleared, confusion enveloped her. It was a room that felt hauntingly familiar. The faded wallpaper fluttering like leaves, the creaky floorboards resonant with lost echoes, all reminders of childhood. An empty, sunlit living room where laughter once thrived. But it was just a facade. The shadows were still there, lurking in corners, murmuring secrets of despair. "Ben?" she called again, her heart hammering, dread pooling in her stomach. A soft whimper answered her, like a prayer caught in the wind. Claire spun around, urgency pushing her forward. It couldn't be too late, not after everything. She stumbled to a dimly lit doorway at the far end of the room. As she pushed it open, an icy breeze rushed past her, chilling her to the bone. The air buzzed with something electric, something impossibly familiar. She stepped into the next room and froze. There, silhouetted against the stark light, she saw him. Ben stood alone, his small body trembling, framed by swirling shadows that danced around him. But his eyes, wide and frightened, were locked onto something just beyond her reach, a darkness that stretched and roiled, threatening to smother him whole. "Mom!" Ben gasped, his voice cracking. "Help me. Hang on, baby, I'm coming." Claire felt a rush of adrenaline pulse through her veins. She raced toward him, but those dark tendrils lunged out, grasping at them like greedy hands. "Stay back!" she yelled, her voice rising with fury and fear. The shadows hesitated, recoiling slightly. Driven by love, she surged forward, casting her light into the inky void, banishing the dark like the morning sun. "You will not take him." As she reached Ben, she snatched his hand, pulling him close, wrapping her arms around him. Together, they stood against the darkness, united in defiance. The shadows writhed, but now they were weaker, shriveling beneath the warmth of their bond. "Claire, the mirror!" Ben shouted, pointing to a large cracked mirror looming at the room's edge, reflecting chaos in its shattered surface. "Ben, we have to break it." Claire's heart sped up, realizing this might be their only chance. "Help me." Together, they ran toward the mirror. Weeping shadows crowding behind them, eager to reclaim their prey. Claire reached the mirror first, feeling a pulse of energy radiating from it, cold, yet inviting. "On 3. She said, looking at Ben, determination breaking through the layers of fear. 1, 2, 3. They lunged forward, crashing into the shimmer of the mirror with a collective roar. The glass splintered like 1,000 falling stars, and the light exploded outward, painting the room in colors so vivid they felt unreal. Claire felt it pulling them forward, wrapping them in the warmth of love and memory, images flashing by like a reel of their lives, their happiest moments, their joys that had long been buried beneath the darkness. As the final shards cascaded around them, the shadows screeched, collapsing inward like a brittle autumn leaf. But Claire and Ben kept pushing through until they emerged on the other side. They stumbled out onto the dewy grass outside the old mill, breathless, hearts racing as dawn's first light painted the horizon. Claire turned to Ben, relief flooding her. "We made it. We did it. Mom." Ben's face shone with happiness, tears sparkling in his eyes that had once held panic. "We're safe." "Yes." Claire pulled him into a tight embrace, feeling the lingering echoes of fear dissipate. "We're free." But as she held him, a shadow flickered just behind them. Claire turned slowly, heart dropping when she caught a glimpse of the figure, not gone, but transformed. "I will always be here," it whispered, a voice echoing from the shadows. "It's only just beginning." With a shuddering breath, Claire glanced at the rising sun, feeling its warmth wrap lovingly around them both. Fear still lurked at the edges, but she understood now the truth was not about escaping the darkness, it was about choosing to embrace the light. "Let us go home, Ben," she said, taking his hand firmly in hers. With every step away from the mill, the sun ignited their path, breaking the chains of the past that had once bound them. And though the shadows would never truly vanish, Claire knew they could face whatever lay ahead together. And with that promise, the horizon glowed golden, filled with hope and a new beginning. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss more thrilling stories like this one. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. Share your thoughts. And for the true fans, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support is everything.